The game Eat Lead, The Return of Matt Hazard, is a game developed by Vicious Cycle Software and published by D3 Publisher. And the game is hilarious. It's a hilarious third-person action game, and it's based on like just making fun of all these action tropes. Like you have a Chinese area, an Arnold Schwarzenegger-like character, and the lead character Matt is actually voiced by someone. God, I don't know his name. It escapes me, but he is hilarious. And the game itself is just so good at capturing that whole comedy feel. It actually won the award. There was a BGX award for best comedy game that year. So that's incredible. And Matt's a likable guy. I mean, the person that plays him, it keeps you listening to what's going on in the game, because every line that he delivers is golden.
I started off like a lot of guys, side-scrolling my way through the 80s, an 8-bit sprite with more firepower than pixels. When the 90s came along, I signed on with Marathon Software to star in their original first-person shooter. Matt Hazard 3D went straight to the top of the charts. It was the first in a string of hits as long as well, let's just say it was long. Really, really long.
And everything about the way he delivers his lines, down to the presentation, the cutscenes, it really does make you feel like this has been a lifelong series, and I guess that's kind of the point. And as you play the game, you'll encounter enemies from his, quote, 2D and 3D games. And there has been a few games of Matt Hazard, but, I mean, some of these are clear parodies of other games. There's a parody of Bioshock, a parody of GoldenEye, and even, like, a Buddy Cop series parody. So, to the gameplay, it's cover-based shooter, I suppose. I mean, you can run and gun, but Matt takes damage pretty quickly. Even on the lower difficulties, when you get caught in fire, it doesn't take long for him to die. Later in the game, there are power-ups, but the first few levels, you'll be relying on, like, magnum pistols and auto pistols that you have. The standard pistol you have doesn't run out of ammo, but it sucks really bad. The best guns to use in the game would probably be the Magnum, which one-shot headshots enemies, and on easier difficulties, barring the hardest difficulty, it one-shots enemies to the chest also. The problem with this game, and the number one problem in the gameplay department, besides the fact that you're very exposed because you're a very big man, is that you lose and run out of ammo very quickly. You will spend a lot of your time walking around looking for ammo, because while there are ammo boxes rarely, it's just not a very common practice. There are some cutscenes where you interact and like mash buttons, and these are normally just like fake boss fights, I guess. They're just theatrics, and it's just an excuse for the voice actors to play around and not to say something like, gotcha! I didn't know this was an 80s action flick, or whatever. And, you know, it's very easy to do. I mean, even on the hardest difficulty, and yes, I played this game all the way through on the hardest difficulty because this game is hilarious, it still weren't, these QuickTime events were very easy. They weren't difficult at all. They were, in fact, some of the easiest QuickTime events I've ever played. But, like I said, it's just an excuse for a cutscene. It's just kind of a cool, interactive way. So the character models don't look great, obviously, because it's 2009. But there are some shadowing effects, as you can see in some of the cutscenes, and the voice actors do a really good job. The character that plays Matt, the guy that voices Matt, is still the best. The environments are very varied. You'll go from like a Japanese tea house to like a Russian boat and like a toy factory. And later on, you'll get enemies teleported in from the other games that he's been in. So a lot of them don't match what's going on in the game, which is great. Like you'll have robot enemies in a cowboy era and cowboys in a robot era. And the concept is that Matt is like having these, he's trapped in his own game, and somehow, like, if he loses all of his lives, he dies in real life, but isn't he a video game character? Like, I don't know exactly. You will be helped by this person named Q, I believe, and it's this AI girl that's hacked into the system of the game to help you out, and she'll occasionally, like, hack in weapons and stuff. Never good weapons, just usually terrible ones. Like, there's a squirt gun that fires real bullets, but like I said, the best gun in the game is the Magnum, and she never teleports that in. You'll have opportunities to take cover quite often in the environments, and enemies will often just keep firing at your position. This, as I stated before, this game is not easy. There are many parts of the game that without cover and without preparation of the right weapons, you won't win. Especially the boss fights later in the game. The bosses are particularly difficult to shoot at, and a lot of them require you to clear out enemies first. But you'll have things like maximum hazard where you are invincible, or super hazard or something where your guns do more damage. But even when this all is going on, it can be very angering and chaotic. But the gameplay is so smooth, the frame rate is pretty solid all the way through, and it really is very interesting to listen to. There'll be shots where the developer of the game somehow is like watching this and hearing this and becoming upset and wondering who's hacking these things and helping Matt, because someone wants to take Matt out of his own game for some reason, and he is supposed to be killed. The voice acting for Q is also good. It's funny, she flirts with him, he flirts with her, I apologize, and she doesn't flirt back, and that's always awkward and funny. And the writing's very well. Some of the environments are pretty static and blocky, but overall, good game. It's about like $8 or $6 on eBay. Definitely worth a purchase. It is playable on Xbox One now, and it's well worth playing. Once again, this is Seouless Reviews. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and see you later.